What's up guys, this is Ben. Today I'll be going through a little bit more of an advanced edit in Lightroom Classic. This is week number 4 of the January Lightroom tutorial series. Right here I have an image that I took from a helicopter a few weeks ago. We can see that it's this tiny little house on an island and there's a lot going on, so I wanted to get this photo to look nice. So first off, right off the bat, I'm going to put it to an aspect ratio that is good for Instagram, center it up, and maybe try and get rid of the island a little bit by moving it just a little bit away. And I like this part of the water a lot better than this, so I'm going to move it down a little bit more. Trying not to have these two islands in the frame too much either, so it's a little bit off. Maybe tighten the crop a little bit more. And we'll click done. Next up, I've got this little buoy that I'm going to remove, and it's a little bit better. Maybe now we can try and sample for the edge here. It was horrible. I think we're actually getting there. Now that looks a lot better. So basically all I was doing was sampling different areas of the image and bringing that back to this one area. Actually might get rid of this dot here as well. And I think I'm pretty happy with that. So now it's time to go into the actual edits. So I'm going to change this to Adobe Landscape. Just makes it a little bit more vibrant, and I'm going to push it a little bit more blue, add some contrast, dehaze it a little bit, not too much, but just a bit. You can see that as I go forward there, we've got probably like a raindrop. And that looks a little bit better. I'm going to lower the clarity in the texture, and then I'll add that back in later. I can zoom in a little bit. Lower the highlights. So now we're already getting somewhere pretty nice. Might even pump a little bit more green into the image like that. Add a little bit of vibrance. Take out a tiny bit of saturation. Next, I'm going to throw in a little very light S-curve for a little bit of added contrast. I won't go too much into these other colors, but what I wanted to do was just play around with the amount of cyan, because it seems like there's a lot of cyan versus red in this image. You can see that as I'm boosting the cyan and the highlights, it looks a little bit better. I'm pretty happy with that. Might also do that with blues and yellows. Now we can see if I go back on the tone curve, it actually did a pretty good number on it. Now we go to HSL and color. I don't really want much red. More orange, less yellow. Push the yellows to the oranges. Or the greens, yeah. Let's do the greens. Oranges can go a little bit towards yellow, make it look like it's not almost winter here. You can tell that as I do more edits, my computer isn't really liking that as much because of the amount of fan power it's using to cool it all off. So I think that's pretty much it for HSL. We can see before and after. Let's get in there. Color grading, I think I'm going to put turquoise into the shadows and see if that does a lot. Just a tiny little bit. I'm going to put some blue into the midtones, and then cyan into the highlights. I do really like this very blue look to this photo, so I'm going to be really pushing towards a lot of blue. Next up we've got detail, so I'm going to zoom in on this house, hold my Alt key as I was showing in the last video. Computer's not liking all these edits. Now here is the sharpened and unsharpened image. So looking pretty good here. I'm going to use automatic lens corrections. Transform, I think we're pretty good. Let me stretch the photo a little bit in the aspect. Not a whole lot, just playing around with the size vignette. It's going to be really big but really light. So not a ton going on here, but just enough to pull the attention to the island. And finally we have calibration. I'm going to push the reds towards orange, lower the reds, greens go towards blue, raise the green, and then blues go towards green and raise the blue. You can see that not a whole lot changed here. The blue down here seems to get a little bit more blue before it's a little bit more green. And if we move up to the island, the bushes seem to come alive a little bit more with this edit. That's pretty good there. So that is all of the main editing tabs, but now it's time to use some filters. So first off, we've got a lot of reflections coming on here. I was shooting so fast that I didn't really think to change up my CPL filter, so darn. So right now I'm going to try and see how much dehazing I can do while making it look natural. Obviously it's still going to look the same, but I'm going to try and see if I can at least make it look a little nicer. I actually don't really want to see too much wave, so I'm going to lower the texture and the clarity in this area as well. And I think that's pretty good. I'm going to add a new one, do a really wide, and this one is just going to brighten up the bottom because it's kind of dark right now. Just like that. You can see before and after here. I'm going to invert, add a lot of feather. I'm going to press O here to see my overlay of what is being affected. I might rotate this a little bit and fix it back into place and fit it back a little bit better. And I think I also might use my brush hold Alt to take away and brush out some of this water because I don't want to be changing too much of the water in this area. Press O to turn the red off, and I'm just going to add a bit of clarity, a bit of texture, and I feel like I'm just a little bit too yellow on this island, so I'm going to change the hue over to orange a little bit more. I think it's going to look a little bit more natural. We can toggle this filter on and off. Looks good to me. Now I'm going to make a brush just for the water in the bottom. Brush it off the island, turn the overlay off, and now I'm going to add a bunch of texture, a little bit of texture, some clarity, a little bit of dehaze, just a bit, add a little bit of saturation, and I'm going to brighten it up just a little bit, just a little bit. So that is basically it, a quick advanced edit in Lightroom Classic. My computer still is raging along with the fan, so it clearly thinks that that was quite advanced in comparison to the basic edit that I did a few weeks ago. That is it for this video. Next week we'll be going through talking about presets and then making LUTs for video. So make sure you're subscribed and click the bell if you haven't done that already so you don't miss that video. Drop a like if you liked this one and comment down below how you liked it and if you'd like to see anything else within Lightroom or anything else in general. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace.